Okay, so tonight I watched a fun movie. I had some time to actually watch a full-on movie, and I decided that I wanted to see something a little bit comical. That happened to be Spenser Confidential. Yeah, that's the name of it, Spenser Confidential. And I had done a reaction and review to the trailer for this a few weeks back. I can't remember exactly, not terribly long ago. And I remember that I liked the trailer, and I was interested to check it out. Now, this came out on Netflix on March 6th, so it's been a few weeks. It's been out, we're coming up on almost a month that it's been out. So it took me a bit to get around to it, but not quite as long as it has taken me to get around to other things. So anyway, bottom line is this movie was fun. It got really savaged by critics pretty much, and it's got like 50-something-ish audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't really completely understand, because while it's not like a stellar film, it's not like like something that I would personally put in, like, let's say the 80 to 90 percentile range. To me, it was like a solid 70% or, 7.0 out of 10 or 7.5 or 75%. It was decent. It was fun. The dialogue was pretty funny. The chemistry between the two main characters, Winston Duke and Mark Wahlberg, was pretty good. So basically, the synopsis is that Mark Wahlberg, you know this if you've seen the trailer, but if you haven't seen the trailer, the synopsis is Mark Wahlberg is a cop who ended up being thrown in jail because he beat up another, like his commanding officer or something, because he felt like he was corrupt, and he beat him up and he got put in jail for that. And so then at the beginning of the movie, he is being released from jail, and he goes to, like, I don't know if it's like a halfway house type of thing, where I think it's Alan Arkin. I think that's the name of the older man who managed the house, and Mark Wahlberg was one of the residents in the house, and Winston Duke was as well. And they had to share a room together. So as you can imagine, there were some little conflicts surrounding that. But anyway, Mark Wahlberg, at the same time that he is released from jail, the same day he's released from jail, his commanding officer, or whatever, the guy above him that he'd beaten up and had gone to jail for doing that, he gets murdered. And so, of course, suspicion falls on him. So the story, that's kind of what sets the ball rolling, sort of. Another thing that sets the ball rolling is that there is another cop that is found dead in his car by an apparent suicide, and Mark Wahlberg's character had known this cop before, and he knew that he was a good kid and that he was not corrupt. And so they were trying to pin the murder of the commanding officer on this guy that had been found dead in his vehicle. So that is what sets the ball rolling. Mark Wahlberg's character, Spenser, he wants to figure out what the heck happened. He originally had been planning to start becoming a trucker and go out to, where was it? Somewhere out toward the west, like Austin or Phoenix or somewhere out there. He wanted to just start a new life completely. Well, he gets sidetracked with trying to figure out what happened to this guy that he knew and figure out who killed this officer, like the commanding general, sergeant. What sergeant? I don't think I call them sergeants, maybe. Yeah, I think that's it. So he basically uncovers a pretty deep web of corruption going on. And I'll have to say that it's kind of revealed a bit early on-ish who's behind who's the main baddie. And personally, it was not really that much of a surprise at all. In fact, the very first time that I saw this particular character, I was thinking to myself, okay, this person is actually the main bad guy. And it ended up being correct. Now, I don't know if that's if I figured that out just due to the fact that I can a lot of times guess where stories are going because I've seen so many movies, I've read so many books, and things can be kind of predictable. That's not really a complaint because it honestly does not take away from the enjoyment of the movie. And like I said, you find out kind of early on, so it's really, that's not like a big plot twisty type thing anyway. It's just something that you find out within the first third of the film, I believe, somewhere around there. So the film also has this girl that he had been in a relationship with. They have a very volatile relationship. She's a character in there too. And they have a strange relationship. I don't know if it's supposed to be kind of comedic. There are parts of it that are comedic, but I'll have to say that overall, her character came across as most irritating and annoying and just absolutely awful. She's abusive to him, and she's got a very caustic, abrasive personality, just like seems so utterly unlikable. I'm thinking, why in the world are you even still like with her or even wanting to be involved with her on any level? And anyway, whatever. But I will say that character provides some a bit of comic relief towards the end when something is going down and she shows up, and it's a little comical. That scene is very brief. It's not really enough to make her character absolutely, wonderful from then on, but that part was kind of funny. Anyway, so that was a little caveat. I'm just trying to remember different things about the various characters. So obviously we have Mark Wahlberg. He is playing Spenser. And Winston Duke, we get a little bit of backstory about Winston Duke's character. I felt like obviously the focus of the movie is on Spenser. So I think, Winston Duke's character got a decent enough, building of his character that we could see. We find out some stuff about his backstory. We see, we understand the way he thinks and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard for me to explain it without getting into a lot of big detail, and I don't want to do that really, not just because of spoilers, but just because I don't want to go on too long with this. But anyway, so it's kind of like a sort of like a buddy cop movie, even though Winston Duke's character's not really a cop. He's, he never was in any shape or form or whatever, but he helps him out. And that's the dude that runs the halfway house right there, the guy in the middle. So it was fun, if not fairly predictable, but I will say that there was one aspect about this movie that sort of did take a little bit of a turn that maybe I wouldn't have expected, that broke away from the typical formula a little bit. And that is that this character, Spenser, okay, so he's been in prison for 5 years. He was a former cop. Obviously, his fellow inmates are going to really love that, right? So, he very often and very regularly gets his ass kicked. It's so funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. I'm quoting a little kid on YouTube. But he's so tough, he's like, come on, he's tough, and he's going to really, and he just gets his ass whooped so many times. And even a dog beats him up. It's so that the scene of him, it'll come around here, but the scene of him, he's like hanging on to something and he's yelling. He's trying to escape this dog that has come after him, and that dog tears him up. It's funny. I mean, it's like everything beats him up. And it's like this guy, he's so tough. He seems like so obviously the typical pattern is that the hero of the story is pretty tough. He might get beat around a little bit, but pretty much all the time, or most of the time, he's going to be really kick-ass, right? Well, he's kind of kick-ass, but at the same time, he also gets his ass handed to him a lot, which is just, I was starting to pick up on that pattern as I was watching it, and then it started to get kind of comical to me, which I believe was the intention. And there are certainly some moments of comedy in here. So, I mean, I knew that. It's not like it's all serious. It's definitely like a comedy action or action comedy, whatever you call it. Anyway, it was a fun film. Like I said, not the most stellar, spectacular movie that you'll probably ever see, but certainly worth your while to check it out. I think it was, they kind of made it seem like at the end there could be possibly a continuation of his story, not necessarily this storyline, but just like maybe a sequel. I haven't heard any talk of that. It was that just might have been, that's the way that they ended the movie, and that doesn't even mean that there's going to be a sequel at all. But of course, I knew that was going to happen, right? Every time. But anyway, it might be something that I'll try to check out and see if there's any talk at all. I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was fun, and I think it's worth your while to check out if you like films like that's the scene. Poor guy. I shouldn't laugh at his pain, but it was funny. Oh my gosh. Anyway, okay. I got distracted by that picture. So yeah, let me know what you think about it, if you've seen it or if you ever get around to seeing it. And I feel like it got a bad. It didn't get a fair shake like on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the IMDb score might be a little bit more fair, like maybe in the six-ish range, which okay, I can see that, but like the 50-ish range, I don't know. It was better than that in my opinion. So anyway, okay, I think that is it for this. I am going to go ahead and wrap this up now, you guys. Hasta luego.